welcome. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me today. This class involves a little bit of stretching of the hamstrings, a bit of moving from right to left on your mat, and just a general good stretch out, both mentally and physically. I'm getting a bit of echo here for my playback. Hold on one second, I'll fix that. See how that sounds, hopefully less echoey, and hopefully you heard that you're going to get a stretch in your hamstrings, a kind of move around a little bit. This is a bit what you make of it practice, so you can bump it up, add extra things, you can take it down a notch and rest a little more often. See how you feel as you move through it and act accordingly. We're going to start off either in child's pose or lying flat on your belly, whatever feels more comfortable and relaxing. I would just like for you to feel comfortable face down with eyes closed just to start off. So as you're ready, we're doing a child's pose, maybe knees nice and wide. Crawl your fingertips forward and rest your forehead on the floor. If you're lying flat under your belly, of course, you can feel more than free to rest your head to one side or create a cushion. But do close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and a long drawn out sigh out. You might simply stay right here. Or you might begin to rock a little bit from temple to temple, so turning and looking a little bit underneath your left armpit. When I say looking, kind of, esoterically, you can keep your eyes closed for this. And then you're turning onto your left temple and you're facing towards your right armpit. And if that feels good, that rolling across your forehead, you can do that a few more times. As you're ready, coming back to the center, so you're looking straight down. Or if you were facing to one side, maybe think about facing your head to the other side for another deep breath in. And a long sigh out. With your next inhale, blink your eyes open. Lift your torso up a little bit. Press down into your fingertips. Take your right arm underneath your left armpit. You can always adjust from child's to lying on your belly or to table here if that feels more comfortable, lifting your hips up as you thread your right arm underneath your left armpit. Now you are gazing either esoterically or actually gazing underneath your left armpit. You could always close your eyes again here. Maybe you like to take your left hand around behind your back or even into your right hip crease. On an inhale, you're going to unwind. Plant the left hand down. Plant the right hand down. And go to the other side, threading the left arm underneath the right armpit. Just feeling that gentle opening at the back of the shoulder. If you've been in child's pose this whole time, you'll start to notice that the crease of your hip is getting a nice stretch. Of course, you can take your right arm around behind your back if you'd like to. When you're ready, inhale to unwind. Plant your hands down. Reach your fingertips really far in front of you, whether you're lying on your belly or coming back to child's pose. Press the fingertips into the floor, lift the palms of the hands, feel a nice stretch through your armpits. Let your tailbone grow heavy or your pelvis grow heavy towards the mat. And then slowly lift yourself up, coming towards your table pose. Sliding your hands under your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Wag your tail a few times from side to side. Coming back to the center line as you inhale, dip your belly down, roll your shoulders back, come through cow pose. As you exhale, lift your belly up, tuck your chin down, come through cat pose. Repeat a few times, cow and cat. One more set, cat. And as you come up into that cat, stay with the spine arched and then roll your spine over to the right as you inhale. And as you exhale, down through cow and up to the left as you exhale. Go twice more in that direction. Big roll over to the right and up to the left. And then as you come back up into that arched kind of cat position, go the other way, rounding down and over to the left, and up and over to the right. Giant barrel roll. Imagine really relaxing your belly at the bottom, and then firming up all your abdominal muscles to help you lift up through the top. On an inhale, come back to neutral. Tuck your toes under and start to walk your fingertips back, stretching the arches of your feet. You go just as far as you need to. And here, if you can sit all the way up, you can always take a moment to roll your wrists. Feel free to stand up onto your knees if this is a little too intense in the arches of your feet. You can always put a cushion underneath your knees, just rolling your mat over or grabbing a blanket. Just wiggle things around a little bit. Maybe reach up, breathe in. And then as you breathe out, come forward, plant your hands down. You might like to untuck your toes and give the tops of your feet a little tap. And then retuck the toes and push back to a downward facing dog. Go nice and slow. Keep your knees soft as you begin to pedal your feet, lowering one heel and then the other. Maybe moving the hips from side to side. Take another deep breath here. And then we're going to go a little bit backwards because with the next inhale, you're going to walk your hands towards your feet. So you're coming towards the back of the mat and you're going to dangle there. Feel free to adjust the distance between your feet. Soften your knees and hang forward for a few breaths. You can, of course, be resting your fingertips all the way down to the floor or to some props. Or you can prop yourself up, forearms on the thighs or hands on the shins if that feels better for your back. Feel free to move through the neck, anything that feels pleasant. Take another nice deep breath here. And with the following inhale, find a halfway lift, bringing your hands up to your shins or your thighs, reaching the crown of your head forward, spine roughly parallel to the floor. Maybe your legs grow a little straighter at this point. As you exhale, bend your knees deeply and fold forward, draping your belly over your thighs. Let your head be heavy. Inhale, half lift, maybe straightening the legs. See how it feels. Exhale, bending the knees more deeply as you come forward. One more like that, just warming up the backs of the legs. This time, you're going to roll yourself one vertebrae at a time all the way to the sky. You're welcome to keep your arms totally heavy or to sweep them out and up if that feels nice, coming all the way to standing at the back of your mat. Let your hands rest down by your sides as you take a nice deep breath. With the following inhale, you're going to reach your arms up Press the palms of your hands together and bring them in front of your heart. Bring your weight to your left foot. Lift your right heel up. Tuck your left hip in towards the center line, so you'll feel even your inner thigh on your left leg start to firm up. You can feel energy drawing up from the earth all the way up through your shin bones, through your femur, up to your hip. So you're really quite stable here on this left leg. And then maybe, just maybe, you can float your right foot a little bit. Relax your tailbone towards the earth. Let your hands be wherever they assist you. If they need to be on a wall or a chair, that is completely fine. Keep tucking the left hip in, and you're going to see if you can step about halfway up on your mat. So you might need to extend a little bit and then step gently forward. Bring all of the weight into the right foot as you peel that left heel up. Slide the left foot in. Don't lower the whole left foot down. You're going to start kind of back where you were on the left foot, but now all your weight is on your right foot and your left toes are just kissing the mat. Tuck your right hip in, and you want to feel like as you tuck your right hip in, you grow taller. You firm your buttocks, you firm your hamstrings, you firm your inner thighs so that your whole leg, all of the muscles are hugging in towards the bone to help you get a little bit more support. Same thing is happening in your core. All your core muscles are wrapping around you like a lovely hug to help you as perhaps you float your left foot. Relax your tailbone. Relax your shoulders. Let your leg muscles and your core muscles do the work here. Holding for another breath. Staying firm. And here you want to step up to the very top of your mat. Gently as possible, left foot down. Slide the right foot in. Place the soles of both of your feet on the mat. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, press your palms together and fold all the way forward. Inhale, find halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands down and walk or step to the back of the mat, coming to your downward facing dog. Take a deep, full breath there. Feel free to take this to a table if you prefer. Inhale, forward to plank. Knees up or knees down, your choice. Tuck your elbows in, lower slowly to the floor. You could take cobra, untucking your toes here. If you're ready, you can take upward facing dog. If you prefer, you can always take sphinx with your elbows on the floor. Exhale to release. Make your way back to downward facing dog. This one does not work particularly well in table, so highly recommend it if it's possible for you today. Do this next part in downward facing dog. If not, you can kind of muddle through and you kind of have to push your hands back and then wiggle yourself through it, but it's definitely not as elegant from a table as it is from a dog. You're gonna lift your right leg to the sky. Inhale. Now, if you can, start walking your hands back towards your left foot. It's totally fine if your right foot drops down here. You're just trying to keep it away from the floor a little bit, even if you just need to place it behind you. If you want, you can lift the right leg a little bit higher. You're coming into like a modified standing splits. I'm gonna jump forward so my foot has some space back behind me. If you have a wall behind you, you can do the same. But you just wanna have right foot lifted to any extent as you drop the head towards the left foot. So you're in a modified standing splits. Just want you to feel a little action at the back of your left leg. Take a breath here. And then take the right foot behind the left foot, crossing it over. Plant the feet down. If you need to, you can always have the feet wider apart, or even just step the right foot a little bit behind the left foot. See how it goes. Bend both of your knees, maybe find a forward fold. This is a great place to use props underneath your hands if you're feeling a little stiffer in the back or in the hips this morning. If you want more, walk your fingertips to the left. Lean to the right with your hips. Enjoy the stretch. Now, this is the part that's vaguely tricky. You are going to walk your fingertips all the way to the right, so towards the foot that's in front. And as you do that, you're going to lift up onto your tippy toes, and you're going to rotate, rotate, rotate around, so your toes are pointing to the back of your mat. And you're in a forward fold. Adjust the angle of your feet and relax. Inhale, find halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll yourself to the sky. If you walked a little ways away from the back of your mat like I did, you can just step up so you're all the way back there again, and then exhale your hands to your heart. Take a deep, full breath. We're going to do that all again, but on the other side to come back to the front. Inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands down, walk or step or hop back to your table or your downward facing dog. We're going through a half vinyasa, so with the next inhale, pull forward to plank. Exhale to the floor. You could do knees up or knees down, doesn't matter. You could do cobra or up dog or sphinx, whatever feels good today. And then we'll all meet back in downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Lift your hips up and back. And when you're ready, float your left foot to the sky. Inhale. If you can, fingertips walk back. You can always do this with both feet on the floor or with the left foot just a little behind the right foot to give you more stability. It's especially to start off with quite challenging and feels very, very wobbly. And again, your left foot can be pretty far down or it can be really high up if you already feel open, if you've already done some exercise today. Then you want your head to get a little lower. You want to feel the back of your right leg. Again, tuck your right hip in towards you. Feel the strength that that brings to your leg. When you're ready, curl your left foot in, placing it behind and across, crossing it behind your right foot, or even just a little out to the side is fine. That'll give you that hip stretch as well. Bend your knees a little bit as you fold. That might feel like, oh, so much more than you need in your hips, so feel free to bring their hands up onto blocks. That really helps. If you think, that's not enough for my hips, I need more, walk your fingertips to the right. So it's kind of confusing, at least I find it confusing, because you're going to be walking your fingertips to the same side as the mat as you walked when you were facing the other direction. But your fingertips are going towards your right side. You feel that stretch on the back outer hip. When you're ready, walk your fingertips all the way around. You're going to your left. You're going to lift up onto your tippy toes, and you should be able to unwind your feet. And maybe it's a smooth pivot. Maybe it's kind of like step, 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 depending on the squishiness of your mat. Plant your feet a comfortable distance apart. Find your forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to roll yourself all the way up to the sky. Exhale, press your palms together. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Take a deep, full breath. Relax your shoulders. Hopefully your legs feel a little bit stretched out, and we're just going to keep working on keeping the back of the body open. So when you're ready, inhale your arms up. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, plant your hands down, step or hop or walk back. You can choose table or downward facing dog. Feel free to skip your vinyasa and hang out, or to join me inhaling forward to plank. Exhaling to the floor. Inhale, your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog, or table pose works for this one just as well. Right foot floats to the sky as you inhale. As you exhale, now you're going to step your right foot behind your right hand at the front of the mat. Rotate your back heel to the floor. Press both heels down as you roll yourself all the way up to where your one hand can come to the hips, or all the way up to the sky. Square your hips to the front of the mat, adjusting the angle of your back foot as needed. Reach up as you inhale. As you exhale, relax your shoulders. Press both heels firmly into the floor, and imagine now that you're hugging both of your hips in towards the midline, so your buttocks are firming up here, and you're lifting your torso out of this strong stability of your lower legs so that you get, again, a little bit taller. Inhale here. As you exhale, press the palms of the hands together, draw them in front of your heart. You're going to start to twist over towards your right. Now, that might feel like plenty. You can always separate your hands at this point, right hand to the hip, left forearm across the shin. If you feel like it's possible to go further, you can rest the back of your left arm on your right thigh. If that feels like it's too pulley in the hips, feel free to lift your back heel and rotate that back foot into a lunge, straight forward and straight back. That will accommodate if your hips are a little bit tighter this morning. Either variation is completely perfect. Shrug your shoulders back. If you do have your palms together, press them actively together so this right shoulder is moving down and back as opposed to hunching forward in an effort to get you more into the twist. You want it to be all the way open. So there's lots of space here along the right side of your neck. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Take a few breaths. Pulling your belly button back away from your thigh with every exhale. You're starting to feel your hips. As you inhale, you're going to unwind. You're going to reach your arms all the way back up to warrior one. As you exhale, take your hands behind you. You can interlace your fingers, grab a wrist, or grab your elbow creases. Roll your shoulders back, lift the center of your chest as you breathe in. As you breathe out, folding forward, humble warrior, belly to thigh, or torso to the inside of the front thigh. Maybe you lift your hands up towards the ceiling. Maybe not. See how it goes. Again, tuck your right hip towards the midline. Feel your inner thigh and your buttocks firm up. Your leg is working really, really hard here. Press both heels actively to the floor, spending a few breaths here. If you start to feel a little wobbly in this position, always feel free to put your hands on blocks or on the floor inside your front foot for extra support, especially if you're getting really low to the inside of your thigh. It can get a little bit unbalanced here. Let's take another deep breath. And you're going to peel yourself again all the way up. You can separate your hands, reach them up. At this point, I really hope that your right leg is fiery because we're going to test it a little bit more. You're going to dive forward as if you were diving into a pool. You can even arch your fingertips, folding forward. Lift your left heel as you bring your fingertips towards the floor or towards some props. Maybe you can bring all of your weight into your right foot as you lift your left foot. And it's not so much a warrior three, so it's not so much about the balance. The fingertips can be firmly rooted down to the floor or to props. It's about as you bring that left foot up, you bring the head down. So it's again a standing split type position. Doesn't matter how high you go. If you feel the back of your right leg working, that's what you want. Again, squeeze that right hip in. Maybe drop the left hip a little bit, but continue to lift with the left thigh, the hamstrings, up towards the ceiling. So you feel both legs firing here. Take another breath. And then curl the left foot in. You're just placing it next to the right foot, a comfortable distance apart. Find your forward fold as you exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll all the way up. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Take a deep breath. Enjoy the warmth in your right hip, your right thigh, your right hamstring. We're going to give our left hip that same treatment. Inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, walk, step, hop, however you like to make your way back to table or downward facing dog. From here, you could skip your vinyasa or you could join me inhaling to plank. Exhaling to the floor. Inhaling, cobra or up dog or sphinx. Exhale, making your way back to table or to downward facing dog, your choice. On your next inhale, the left leg floats up. Step the left foot behind the left hand. Rotate the right heel to the floor. We're coming up to warrior one. Press down through both heels. Roll yourself up. Hands could be to the hips or arms can come to the sky. And again, you want to imagine that both of your hips are drawing towards the center line. Your inner thighs are squeezing a little bit towards one another to give you a lot of strength and integrity. So you feel both hips working, you feel both thighs working in this position. And while your legs are working, they're doing kind of the, all the labor. Your upper body is like, oh, this is so nice. I don't have to do anything. I can just float freely. The crown of my head is so light. Maybe my arms lift up. And because the lower body is working so hard, the upper body is allowed to just relax and expand up towards the sky. Take a few breaths here. Keep pressing the heels into the earth. Keep the inner thighs moving towards one another. Inhale here. As you exhale, press your palms together, draw your hands in front of your heart, and begin to twist over towards your left. And again, as you twist, you might find that you get to a point where you're like, oh, I really feel this. And if the back of your left arm does not like to meet, the back of your right arm does not like to meet your left leg, feel free to do a hand or a forearm across the leg and a hand on the hip. So the left hand would be on the hip, the right arm would be across the leg. If you feel like your hips are a little too tight, you can always rotate. Back foot straight forward and back. If you do have the palms of your hands pressed together, really firmly draw that top shoulder back. You don't want to collapse into your left shoulder here. Squeeze the inner thighs together and enjoy for a few deep breaths. Feel the legs working. Appreciate the hard work that the legs are doing for you here. Pulling the belly away from the thigh as you exhale. Inhale, come all the way back up, reach your arms up, separate your hands. And then exhale, take the hands behind you. Any variation that works here. Inhale, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, folding to your humble warrior. Belly to thigh or torso to the inside of the front thigh if your body feels open for that. Maybe lifting the arms up. Hip draws in, that's left hip, so front hip. Especially if you're going to the inside of the front thigh, the hip can have a tendency to swing to the side, and you just want to bring it back to the center line. Make it work really hard here. Feel the heat. Enjoy the heat. Especially today. In Portland, it is snowy and cold, so this heat should be a nice, welcome antidote to all the cold weather. All right, when you are ready, push into your heels, peel yourself up. Hopefully you have some nice heat in that left thigh. Inhale here. As you exhale, dive forward. You're taking your hands to the floor. I'm already bringing my back heel away from the earth. And then as soon as my fingertips touch down, I start to bring the weight to the left foot. Maybe a little kick, maybe several little kicks to bring that right foot to the sky. As you lift the right heel, the head drops. And again, I'm really not concerned with how far the right leg lifts, just how much you feel in the left leg. I want you to feel enough that you feel the work. You feel maybe some action, some stretching in your hamstrings. But not so much that you don't feel like you can do this one more time. Don't give it 200%. Save a little bit because we have one more round after this. Curl your right foot in. Place it on the floor. Oh, find that sweet forward fold. Let go. Exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, roll all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Take a full deep breath. Enjoy. See how you feel. Open your eyes. Inhale your arms overhead. Press the palms together as you fold forward. Stick your buns behind you. Inhale, find halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Feel free to skip the vinyasa and take a little rest before we take that second set. Or if you feel quite fiery, you can join me inhaling to plank. If you're not such a fan of the push-ups, but you like the back bend, you could try what I'm going to do next, which is once you're in the plank, your knees are lifted, you're going to flip your toes over, pressing the tops of your feet into the mat, and then begin to lower the hips. A little upward-facing dog without the chaturanga. Keep rolling your shoulders back. And then you can flip the toes over and come back to downward-facing dog. Any variation works here, though. If you have one that you like, stick with it. Right foot floats to the sky, inhale. Right foot behind the right hand, exhale. Back heel rotates to the floor. Press the heels down, inhale to warrior one. Slowly reach the crown of the head up. Again, you find the work in the legs. You squeeze the thighs in. You activate the outer hips. Create stability and strength in the legs so that the rest of the body, the upper body, can just float. Inhale here. As you exhale, press your palms together. Start to twist over towards the left. And you can do the same twist as before, any of those variations. Palms together, forearm to thigh, hand to hip. Back heel rotated, totally your choice. Maybe you want to go a little bit further. And you might like to try a twisted half moon. If you want to test this out, it's a little bit of balance work and quite a lot of thigh work. So proceed with caution. Unwind yourself a little bit. Reach your left foot diagonally out and in front of your right toes. Bring your weight forward, bring your right hand to your hip. Your left heel is lifting up. You come back into your balance, lifting your left leg a little bit behind you. Keep twisting over to your right. Now you want your back thigh to be parallel to the floor or lower, anywhere in that spectrum there. Maybe you open your right arm to the sky. Whatever the variation of the twist, keep your thighs, squeezing together. Take another breath or two. And then we're all gonna release. If you have this back foot lifted, you're gonna step it back. You can either put the heel down or you can leave it lifted up, totally your choice. Come all the way back up, warrior one. I highly recommend setting the back heel down if you kept it lifted up until this point. Take the hands behind you, roll the shoulders back, inhale. Exhale, fold to your humble warrior. Deep breathing here. Hugging the left hip towards, hugging the right hip towards the center line. Hugging the front hip inwards. You can hug the left hip inwards, but I feel like that is more destabilizing than anything. It's the right hip that tends to do this outward motion, and you just want to counteract that. It's not like you're taking it further in than it would naturally go, just that you're returning it to a strong place. When you're ready, peel yourself up as you inhale. This is the last bit of strength work here on this right side. You're going to dive forward. Fingertips down, back heel lifts. Launch yourself into that standing splits-esque pose. If you feel really quite confident here and you're getting your leg a little bit higher and you feel like your head is coming down towards the floor, you might walk your fingertips back so you have a line of 15 fingers and toes. You might even hold on to the back of your ankle with one or both hands, though you might wobble. When you're ready, you're going to curl in, and this time again, go with your left foot to the outside of your right foot. It's okay if you come off of your mat, but you can always scoot if that's not comfortable. Again, maybe your feet are really close together, maybe your feet are far. Maybe your left foot is actually just slightly behind your right foot. Go to the place where you feel your hips, soften your knees, and find that cross-stitch leg forward fold. Maybe you like to walk your fingertips to the right. Walk your fingertips back in, lift up halfway. You're going to uncross your feet. Exhale, find your regular forward fold. Inhale, roll all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Probably once again you feel an imbalance. The right hip feels a lot different than the left hip. We're going to fix that. We're doing the left side. And then we're going to relax. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, walk, step, hop, make your way back, table, or downward facing dog. Feel free to stay there or take a child's pose for a few breaths. Or join me in a vinyasa, inhaling to plank. You can push up and then lift to a cobra and upward dog, or you can do the flipped toes, lower the hips, upward facing dog. This is nice because you get the back bend, but without a lot of work for the arms if they're feeling a little fatigued. When you're ready, lift your hips, retuck your toes, and come back to downward facing dog or table pose. From there, left foot floats as you inhale. Exhale, left foot steps behind the left hand. Right heel goes to the floor. Inhale, press both heels down as you lift up. Warrior one. Enjoy the relative calm here as you press your heels down. Activating your inner thigh, strengthening the legs. Relax your shoulder. Relax your jaw. Maybe even smile a little bit here. Deep in breath. On the out breath, the palms come together and you twist. And again, you can do any variation of the twist. You can always lift your back heel if that feels better for your body. Feel free to stay right here. I'm honestly quite tempted not to go into the balance, but I'll show it to you on this side. If you want to go into that twisted half moon, you want to challenge yourself a little more, you just twist a tiny bit back to the center line so you can reach your right hand diagonally in front of your left foot. I'm probably about 12, 15 inches away, diagonally out. Rotate on your back foot, lift that heel up, launch yourself forward. You can always walk this hand to a comfortable position so you feel supported. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Keep a little bit of lift in that right leg. You can go as high as parallel to the floor. And maybe twist a little more to your left. So you're twisting towards your standing leg, potentially taking your left arm to the sky. Enjoying whatever variation of twist you're in. Squeezing your inner thighs together. And just like in the first twist, on the exhale, you can bring your belly button back towards your spine. So you're firming your abdominal muscles here to help hold you in this position. Keep lifting the hamstrings on the back leg. Working. All right. If you have that back foot lifted, you're going to need to step it back. Maybe setting the heel down now, maybe setting the heel down once you come up, but you're coming back to warrior one. If you're just in the twist, you'll untwist and reach yourself all the way up. Inhale here. As you exhale, take your hands behind you. Any lacing up of the fingers or arms that feels good. Shoulders roll back as you breathe in. As you breathe out, fold to your humble warrior. Hug your left hip in. Feel free to set your hands on the floor if that feels more stable here. Feel the heat in the left leg. Feel it building and building and building. Let's take another deep breath here in our humble warrior. And we'll peel ourselves with the next inhale all the way back up. We're going for that last bit of strength work on the left side. So diving forward. You can even think about hollowing your belly out. So you're diving all the way forward, almost like you're coming into a cat-shaped spine as you bring your fingertips to the floor in front of you. Lift your back heel. Bring your weight to your left foot. Lift your right foot. Drop your head. Standing splits. Now, if you feel quite confident here, you can always walk your fingertips back to the line of your toes. A little more challenging. You can always hold your ankle with one. I'm going to try both and see how wobbly I am on this side. Or both hands. Keep lifting the right hamstrings, but relaxing the right hip. So you're not all the way open. You're a little bit closed off. You'll feel a lot more work in your standing leg as you drop your right hip down. Let's take another breath. Feel the fire. And then curl in. You're crossing the right foot behind the left foot, or any variation thereof. Bend your knees a little bit. Forward fold. Maybe you walk your fingertips a little towards the left to maximize if you'd like to. And then all the way back to the center line. Uncross your feet. Step them a comfortable distance apart. Exhale, normal forward fold. Inhale, roll to the sky. Exhale, press your hands in front of your heart. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. I hope you feel warm and toasty and you have a pleasant sense of fatigue in your legs. We're going to use all of that heat to our advantage here. We're going to attempt some double pigeon or fire log pose action. When you're ready, you're going to bring yourself down to the mat. Feel free to bring some props with you if you would like. You can always bring a blanket to sit on. My blanket is very much tucked in. Or you can bring a couple of blocks to place underneath your knees. Anything that's handy. You can see what you might like. I'm going to grab a couple of things that might be handy as you do this. As you come down to the mat, stick your feet out in front of you. Give them a little wiggle, give them a little shake. And then what you're going to do here is take your, let's do right side. Take your right foot and cross your right ankle over the top of your left knee. And as you do that, I want your ankle bone to be on the outside of your outer left thigh. So you're not sitting with your foot on top of your leg. It really is your ankle and even your shin that's on the leg there. Now, if you feel like this is a little tight in your lower back, you might sit up onto your blanket. The other thing you can do here is put a block or any other kind of prop, a little cushion or pillow works well, underneath the knee to hold yourself in a position that feels stretchy, but not, of course, like you are going to imminently fall out of it or you have to grate your teeth. Now, that feels pretty intense. You feel your outer hips. You might simply stay here, pressing your hands behind you, lifting the center of your chest. If this feels pretty good, but you want a little bit more, you can always fold forward, bringing your hands in front of you. This is another great place to use a prop. I know some people who can put their forehead on a prop here. I can almost get my forehead comfortably to a prop here. Maybe you stay right here, kind of a seated figure four pose. If you want to go a little bit further, you might fold your bottom foot in. And as you do that, you can really experiment. The kind of traditional placement would be the left shin right underneath the right shin, so you're stacking like little fire logs here, and some people's knee here can get quite a bit lower so that they're really stacked. Mine is not going to go there today. If yours does, kudos to you for nice flexible inner and outer hips. Again, you can prop here. You can put blocks, the blankets underneath your hips. You can also take this bottom foot and adjust a little bit. If you point the foot or draw the foot a little bit in towards you, you can get a lot more space. So experiment and see where you need to be. The stacked position is kind of the maximum that you can go, except that if it's not enough, you can always fold forward and make it more maximal. You can also lean back. So pick your poison. See what works for you. You might get a few inches forward in one position or another. You might switch a little bit and you might have to lean back in another position. So experiment. We're going to spend a little bit of time here. It's not important what variation you're in. It's just important that you feel your, outer hips stretching out. We did a lot of work with the outer hips today. We're just cleaning out all of the tension that we might have built there. We're using that heat in the muscles to help them stretch really nicely. I'm going to tell you that I practiced this yesterday and stretched my hips this morning in preparation to show you this, because this is not a pose that is inherently easy for my body. So don't worry if you are feeling like you're sitting more with like a little chin rest here, or you have to have your bottom leg extended. This is one of those poses that doesn't look super fancy. It's not all that impressive in appearance, but it's really intense. Let's take a couple more deep breaths. Yourself. I sometimes have to use my hands to unwind my legs because they feel a little bit stiff here. You can put your feet on the floor, lean back and take some windshield wipers. You can wiggle and shake. Just do anything you need to do to feel a little bit more relaxed before we go over to the other side. The legs will extend. Oh, so much nicer. And you're going to cross the left ankle when you're ready over the top of the right knee. And again, just make sure that your ankle joint is on the outside of your leg. This does make it harder, but what it does is keeps the stretch in the hip. Instead of when you have the foot here, what you're actually stretching is the ankle, which is not what we're trying to stretch today. Now, of course, you can stay here. You can sit up on your blanket. You can prop yourself in any way that feels nice. You could fold forward or backward. If you need more, you could fold that bottom foot in. Now, you could go for that attempt of stacking. In here, if you flex both your feet, you're going to get a lot of action. Of course, if you point the toes or draw that foot in, it's going to be a little bit easier, especially if you desire a forward fold. So see what works. Experiment. Prop. This should not hurt your knees. Please, if your knees hurt, back off. What you're doing when you are hurting your knees in this position, or when your knees hurt in this position, is instead of stretching your hips are tight, so they're deferring all of that stretch down towards your kneecap. You're actually pulling your kneecap out of alignment. That is bad. I know I often say there's no wrong way to do a pose. unless you hurt yourself. And in this case, if there's a lot of discomfort in your knee, it is a hurt for your kneecap. Please don't do that. Please keep your knees safe and happy. Listen to the message they are sending you. I think we tend to ignore pain messages from our knees because we think, well, you know, they just hurt. Knees hurt. They are a weird joint that trouble many of us. But when your knees hurt in yoga, listen. They shouldn't have to hurt. This should be something that's benefiting your knees because you're stretching the hips. And if you do have really tight hips, you are now creating elongation in the hip and along the side of the leg if you do this properly, which will eventually help the kneecap to stay tracking and to cause you less future pain, which is always good. Let's take a couple more deep breaths. Relax your jaw. Maybe even a little smile here. And when you're ready, you're going to release. Shake everything out a little bit. Oh, that feels so nice to let go of. Hopefully your legs just feel like a pleasant kind of tingly, tired sensation. Oh, so relaxed. And here, you're just going to come and move props out to the side. If you do want to do a little bit more of a relaxing back bend, you could have a block or a folded up blanket or even a bolster ready. I think I'll use my folded up blanket here. And I'm just going to set it right beside my mat. We're going to do a bridge pose. And you can do a supported bridge pose if you happen to have props or if you like one, or you could do an unsupported bridge pose if you like a little bit more intensity or you don't happen to have any props handy. When you're ready, lie yourself down. Draw the soles of your feet in so your knees are pointing up towards the ceiling. I'll show you unsupported first and then supported. Palms of the hands by the sides. Relax the shoulders, firm up the belly, and lift the hips. And this doesn't have to be the most intense bridge pose. You don't need your knees to disappear from your view or anything. You just lift up a little bit. Maybe you stretch your arms over your head. And enjoy. If you want to take the supported variation, go ahead and grab your prop, slide it underneath your hips, and let your hips rest down. Again, you can take your arms if you like and supported variation up over your head. Spend a few more breaths here. I'm quite partial to the supported variation after all the work that we've done. Feels really nice to take it a little bit easy. If you're in supported bridge, you can stay there for this next part. If you have your hips lifted, lower them all the way back down to the floor. If you want, you can add a prop at this point if you didn't want to and you have one. But you're going to take your legs up to the sky. And whether or not you have a prop underneath your hips, you're just going to lift the feet towards the ceiling. If you're using a prop, kind of get comfortable. And then you might like to wiggle your toes around a little bit. Maybe roll your ankles. Flex and point your toes. Really, any movements here that feel nice. You just want to relax your legs a little bit. Let them take a little break. That was a leg intensive practice. Also feels nice. Lots of fatigue in your core. Lots of support work there. Really warming up the large muscle groups in the body, warming up the fiery center of the body on this cold day. Here, we're going to go into a happy baby. If you are without prop, you can come directly to happy baby, bringing your knees to the side. If you have a prop, you'll want to bring the soles of your feet down. Slide your prop to the side, lower your hips, and then take your legs back up. Bend your knees towards your armpits. Take the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. You can hold, of course, your feet, your ankles, your calves, your thighs, wherever it feels good. You know, inside or outside of the feet. I'm quite partial right now to doing like a wrap where I take my upper arm on the inside of my thigh and then wrap around so I'm holding the outside of my foot. Hopefully that makes sense. Just feels good. I have no evidence of why it feels good. It's just nice. If you want to try it, you can too. Any movements here that feel pleasant. Finish off our practice with a twist, releasing your happy baby. Bring your knees in towards you and take them over to the right. And any variation of twist is totally fine. I'm going with a stacked knee because that feels good. But of course you can do the bottom leg long and the top leg crossed over, or you can pinwheel your legs. The exact twist is so not important. It's that you feel a pleasant sensation of gentle stretching in your hips, your lower back, your shoulders. It should just feel yummy. When you're ready, take your twist over to the other side. Adjust it so it feels nice. When you're ready, bring your knees back to the center. Let them to your chest. Rock a little from right to left. If there's anything else you need to do, please feel free to add that in now before making your way to Shavasana. If you happen to be near a wall, you are encouraged, gently encouraged, to take a legs up the wall position for your Shavasana. Again, just draining any lymph from the legs, really relaxing them. I like a prop for my legs up the wall. Some people do, some people don't. If you want some height underneath your hips, you can put your prop just a hand span, 6-8 inches away from the wall. Sit sideways with your shoulder against the wall and then tip yourself back as you flip your legs up the wall. And I did not bring my mat to the wall, so my prop is really sliding here, making this insanely awkward. But it's moderately awkward at best to get your legs up the wall. And if you want to try that out, you just bring your legs up. Any angle from the wall is totally fine. Legs can be almost parallel to the wall or at quite a big angle. This is also a lovely thing to do if you happen to have a chair or a couch seat nearby. You can rest your calves on said seat. Have a kind of gentle bend in the knees. You can also dispense with this entirely and simply lie in any Shavasana variation that feels good to your body. The important thing here isn't the shape of your body, the pose of your body. The important thing is that as you take a deep breath in and a nice long sigh out, you can feel your body letting go. For all of that work, you can really lean into this relaxed place. You earned this. You deserve this. Enjoy the relaxation. course, you have a couple extra minutes in your day, I encourage you to linger here. Again, enjoy a little more time in your relaxation. When it's time to return to your day, take a deep breath in and out. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Hug your knees perhaps in towards your chest, and that works whether you're at the wall or on the floor. When you're ready, roll yourself all the way over to one side to rest for a few breaths. Before making your way to a comfortable seat for you today. As you arrive there, let your hands come in front of your heart. We'll close with a deep breath together. In through the nose if possible today. Out through the mouth. Beginning on 3. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice and your time. Have a wonderful rest of your day.